Right now, this kit that you're looking at, bag and everything that's inside, is retailing for $349 on Amazon. You get your drone with a strap, an SD card, a Lexar 64 gigabyte V30 that comes with the kit. You get 3 batteries. This battery pack that comes with the kit charges all 3 batteries at the same time. On each battery carries a USB for charging, and it also has a light indicator. It's red when you plug the charger in. When it's fully charged, the light goes off. When you stick it in the drone, you can also check your battery levels. At the bottom, there's a battery light there. There's downward positioning sensors. It's got a 4K camera. 3-axis gimbal. This is almost too good to be true. Now, I don't know how long this sale is gonna last, but don't run out and buy it yet, because I haven't flown it yet, and that could be the Achilles heel. Look at the controller. This is like some Star Wars spaceship kind of stuff. And I'm using a cable here that is Android to Android, which is C to C, but it comes with the iPhone cable. It comes with a quick start guide, comes with instructions, comes with everything. You take the sticks off at the bottom and you screw them in, so that's great for storage. It's got a power button. It's got a pause button, which also doubles as a return to home when you hold it down. At the top's got a record button. It's got a shutter button for your photography. It's got a gimbal wheel to adjust the gimbal right there. And your antennas are adjustable. They move up and down, so you can angle and hold the controller like this, and always have the antenna shooting out towards the drone. Just plug the angle side into the phone, expand it out, and that's it. Plug this into the bottom here, and you're pretty much ready to fly. In case you're wondering what app I'm using, it's called Potensic Pro. It's available in remote control connected. Very nice voice, I must say. Very pleasant voice. Interface looks really nice on this drone. First, let's start with the maps. As I turn, oh yeah, the triangle turns, shows you what direction you're pointing or you're facing. It loads the full maps. Really nice. What happens if I touch this little circle? Oh, we get a leveling. Really nice. It's got some features, got distance, got height, got really good, really good. You got this button you could press here. You go left to land, you go right to return home. It shows you the gimbal in degrees up there. Look at the top. As I move the gimbal down and I move the gimbal up, I see 1x there. What happens to the 1x next to the record button? Oh, it goes to 2x. What if I tap it again? 1x and 2x. So that's not bad in your life. $350. That's not bad. Okay, what if I tap and hold? Oh, it brings out a wheel, and I can do 1.2, 1.5. Oh my gosh. That's real exciting. I can open out my screen and I get
remote control connected.
I get the full view in my life. This is the OnePlus Open. You got this in your life. This is phenomenal. This is, oh man, I don't know what to say. The bottom right, I guess, is where you go to watch your photos and your videos. Right above that is your smart shots. You got pull away, rocket, circle, spiral. You even got boomerang. Is that a tracking? That's a tracking. So we got to test this out too. Oh my gosh, I need some tracking in my life. And above that, you can toggle between your photo mode and video mode. When you hit the photo mode, do you have the zoom in the photo mode? You absolutely do. I see one other option that has a timer there. Let's just hit a 2-second shot. Every 2 seconds, it'll take a shot. We can select 4K 30 in auto mode. We can do 2.7 up to 30 at 1080p. We can do up to 60 frames a second. Wow. A lot of frame rates here to choose, but I can tell you it crops. It crops in 1080p 60. What if I go to 1080p 30? Then it doesn't crop. So you can use the crop as a zoom, so to speak. And it's beautiful that it doesn't crop in 4K. And you can select your exposure if you want a darker image or lighter image. Very nice. We'll keep it on 0. Now you click on that, it goes from A to M. We got full manual white balance that we can play with. Very nice. We're just going to leave it in auto for now. You can fully adjust your shutter by sliding. The exposure meter reads and shares the information with you in real time. Bird just zoomed across there, 21, 22 miles an hour. Wow, this drone moves. Under safety, we've got beginner mode. We've got imperial or metric. We've got speeds, and then there's signal loss. What do? Return, land, or hover. And then you have your minimum return altitude. Silent return, once enabled, the controller will no longer give that annoying beep. Geofence, you could set a limit in height and a limit in distance. I have no limit on, and my maximum height is 2,625 feet up. So you can climb some mountains with this thing. Do you want safety tip notifications periodically while you're flying? You could turn that on, especially if you're a newbie. And of course, there's battery information. It gives you your battery, your temperature, your current, your voltage, how many times it's charged. For calibration, you've got compass calibration, gimbal fine tune. Really nice. So I guess you can fine tune the gimbal if it goes off. But right now, my horizon looks good. I'm not going to touch it. Horizon looks good. On the control, you have sticks mode. Now, it says mode 1. I know we normally fly in mode 2, but I guess their mode 1 is our mode 2 because it flies normal in mode 1. Also, you have here your gimbal pitch speed. I have it set to 5. I like a smooth gimbal. This is to look down. So if you press this, your gimbal looks all the way down. And if you press it again, the gimbal looks all the way up. It would have been nice to have that as a programmable button here, but hey, it is what it is, right? And gimbal mode, you have stable mode or FPV mode. I'll just show you what that looks like. When you turn, it kind of gives you that FPV kind of experience. Nice. You don't find a lot of these features on these cheap drones. Very, very interesting. Camera. You have you can put the X, you can put the grid lines, whatever you want, depending on how serious you are. You can leave all three on at the same time. You could format your SD card here. I won't do that. Enable telemetry the data. If I enable that, look at the bottom of the screen. There's some fine print at the bottom there. I guess some people like that. I do not like the fine print. I will take mine off. Sports mode will block you from going all the way up with the gimbal. But if you are in video mode and you're shooting cinematic video, then it lets you look up, which is really nice. Really, a lot of thought went into this drone, I can tell. Oh, video mode, the drone flies a lot smoother. It's not as aggressive. The yaw doesn't like fly all over the place. Very, very nice. And the controller seems to have good range. Like, I haven't had any issues with the control of this drone. Very nice. And the battery life is great. I've been up here talking to you guys for a while, and I've still got 40% battery. I must tell you, for 300 and something bucks, I think this is the most impressive drone that I've flown for the money. I just hope the image quality is good. There it is. Wow, that is pretty close. I probably took off right here, like a foot or so away. We're back at the studio, and I'm happy to report that all the smart shots work really good. Just remember, there's no obstacle avoidance on these budget drones, including this one, so make sure you're in an open area when you're executing these shots. Usually these budget drones, the tracking feature is there, but they don't work well. However, this little guy actually tracks really good. It locks onto people, and it even locks onto vehicles. Note that it only follows you from behind. So whether you're on a bicycle, whether you're walking or driving, it will come behind you. It does not do any side tracking or what's known as parallel tracking. Kind of wish it had that, but guess what? At this price point, with everything that's included, I'm not going to complain. And it's good that at least the tracking works well. Now, there was one time when I went to try the tracking and all of the smart shots, and no matter what I do on the screen, I tap on the target or draw a box around the target, it would immediately just detach itself from that target. And I was there for like 10 minutes trying to track and trying to do smart shots, and it just would not lock on to a target. Fortunately for me, my frustration didn't get the best of me because Chris was actually there with me. And he said, hey, why don't you just close the app and close all the other apps you have open on your phone and reopen it again. I did that, and voila, the tracking and all the smart shots locked in on the targets perfectly. And I never had a problem since then. But if you ever get that problem, at least you know what to do. Now, when I found out this drone had waypoints, I absolutely did not believe it. But yes, all I had to do was tap on the maps, tap on any part of the map that I want, and in the order of my tap, it became the order of the waypoints, and then you just hit go, and this drone takes off and heads towards all the points. What's cool on top of that is while it's flying from point to point, you can actually raise the altitude or lower the altitude of the drone, or you can adjust the gimbal while the drone is going from point to point. So that's really cool. However, if you try to spin the drone like yaw it, it will kick you out of waypoints, or if you try to fly left or right, it will kick you out of waypoints. So remember, you can only raise altitude and lower altitudes during waypoints, and you can also look down and look up, which is really cool while you're flying the waypoints. So that's a really cool feature to have in such a budget drone, and just a really cool thing to play with. Overall, I must say this drone really excites me because it's very difficult to find a sub 250 gram drone with all of these features at a price point of $350 with all the hardware stuff that this also comes with. And even if you were to find a drone within this price point that has these features, the features just don't execute well. And I'm happy to report that the features that this has does a very good job. So pleasantly surprised. Playing with all of the features that this drone offers and shooting in 4K gave me about 20 to 22 minutes of flight time, and that is satisfactory in my opinion. However, there are some things that I do not like about this drone and could use some improvement. Most drones at this price point actually have a dedicated button on the remote controller for you to look down, all the way down, and then straight ahead with the tap of a button. And this drone does not have that button, be it dedicated or programmable. And that really sucks because it's something that I'm used to. Also, most controllers at this price point have a button to switch between the slow mode, the medium mode, and the sports, or what's called the fast mode. This controller doesn't have it either. I felt like one programmable button would have done the trick, that you could have double tapped to look down and up and single tap to switch between slow, medium, and sports mode. But it just doesn't have it, and that's probably my biggest complaint with this kit. And the battery life reader is at the bottom of the drone. I would have much preferred it at the top. Look, just a preference. I'm going to mention it because it's a little nitpick, which also brings me to my next point. I wish the battery of itself had an indicator instead of having to rely on putting the battery in the drone to get a reading. However, I will say that you can get a reading in the drone and you can also get a reading in the charger. So not that big of a deal, but just be aware of it. And also there is an indicator here as well, but that indicator only works when the battery is charging. Now, there was a moment in time where I was thinking to myself, gosh darn it, this drone seems perfect or almost perfect. And that was until I took a look at the 4K footage and photos coming out of this camera. Now, it's not bad. The footage is actually good as well as the photos, but there is some noise in this camera even in the daytime. Is it something you would notice if you're viewing the footage on a smartphone? No. If you're viewing it on a small tablet or a small laptop? No. But if you put that footage on a big 4K screen and you're doing video production work, then you will notice the grain in the footage even when flying in the day. Now, how many people are going to buy a $350 kit to do production work? I don't know. But it's just something to be aware of. The footage is not the best, but it is very good. The same applies for the photos. The standard photos without the zoom look very good with a tad bit of grain in it. But once you start using that zoom, that 1.5 and that 2x zoom, then there becomes a lot of noise as well in the photos and in the videos. You can clean it up and make it look real nice. But as a beginner, if you're just viewing on your phone, I don't think it will be a big deal at all. But just be aware of its limitations. Low light performance on this drone, even with a f2.2 aperture, is not good. And that's expected with these types of small sensors. Not a huge bummer there when it comes to the camera. That is expected in low light. But I just want you to be aware of the limitations of this drone. Now, let's talk about the gimbal a little bit. When flying and yawing to the left or yawing to the right, I did notice some micro jitters in the footage, especially when flying in sports mode, a little bit when flying in normal mode, and even less when flying in video mode. Not a big deal, but just be aware of it. If you're doing any kind of filming, make sure you put this thing in video mode and get some nice slow moving turns. Otherwise, you might get some micro jitters in your footage. I do believe ND filters would help too, as it would be able to adjust the shutter speed, but there are no ND filters available for this drone. Now, I know this is probably a tall ask at $350, but it would be nice to have some cine-like or log footage for those who like to color grade. Again, not a big deal, but hey, I like to color grade, so I'm gonna ask for that kind of stuff always. Look, I'm just gonna say this outright. I highly recommend this kit for beginners, for people who want to experience all the flight modes and tech that all the more expensive drones have, to get a real good taste of it at $350 with a decent camera, a drone that flies very well and has very little bad things that you can say about it. With that being said, make sure you hit thumbs up, make sure you hit subscribe and hit the bell to get notified when I release more Potensic videos and just more drone and tech related videos in general, especially if they do software updates to this bad boy. I will definitely make a video letting you know. If you're looking for drone LUTs for your camera that shoots D-Cinelike or D-Log, head over to www.dronexfactor.com. I've got a pack of 40-something LUTs there that is bound to satisfy you. Also, if you need any more help or you have any questions, hit me up in the comment section below, or you can find me on Patreon. It's like sending me a text message that comes straight to my phone. It's only $1 a month. That's $12 a year, and you get full access to me. With that being said, guys, I hope you enjoy this Potensic Atom video, and I will catch you guys, well, whenever I can.